Alright guys, welcome back to another Roblox Studio scripting tutorial, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how you can make and script a rocket launcher. Alright, so as you can see, if I click somewhere, rockets will come out and they explode on impact. Alright, and if you get too close to the explosion, you just kill yourself. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into this video. Alright, so I'm going to go to the toolbox and search rocket launcher. Alright, and then I'll take the first one, which is from Roblox, alright, as a model. And I'll go inside and remove the scripts and this, leaving only the handle and the mesh inside. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do when we get the model is I'm going to create an attachment inside of the handle. Alright, so go to the plus sign and search attachment. Alright, and I'll name this attachment fire position. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the attachment to the front of the rocket launcher. Alright, so basically what this does is that it tells the scripts that you want the rockets to be fired from this position. All right. So if you don't have that, the rockets will will start to fire from the center of the from the rocket launcher. All right, which is not very realistic. All right. So you want to tell the server where you want the rockets to be originating from. All right. So once we have that, I'm going to go to the tool, insert a local script. Alright, and I'm going to insert a script, a server script, and insert a remote event. Alright, so I'm going to rename the local script client, rename the server script server, and I'm going to rename the remote event fire. Alright, so basically what's going to happen is that the client is going to detect whenever the player wants to fire the rocket launcher, and it sends the signal to the server that contains the player's mouse position. Now we're doing this because the server cannot access a player's mouse, so it doesn't know where the player's mouse is pointing at. Only if we use the client or local script can we tell the server where the player's mouse is and where we want the rocket to be fired. Alright, so we're going to start with the local script. Alright, double click that, as it's simpler than the client script, than the server script. Alright, so to start, we're going to define local tool equals to script.parent. Alright, and then local player equals to game:guest service players. Alright, dot local player. Alright, so player is basically the player that is holding the rocket launcher. Alright, and then we're going to have local mouse equals to player:get mouse. Alright, this mouse is the mouse of the player. And we're going to have tool.activated connect function. Alright, and then we're going to have tool.fire server mouse.hit.p. Alright, so whenever the tool gets activated, so if the player clicks with the tool enabled, we're going to fire the remote event that we created, and we're going to pass the position of the mouse, which is mouse.hit.p, to the server. Alright, so we're not going to do any creation of the rocket or exploding on the client. We're all going to do it on the server. Alright, so let's move on to the server script. Alright, so to start, I'm going to create some variables. So local tool equals to script.parent, and then local handle equals to tool.handle, and then local fire position equals to handle. Local fire position equals to handle dot fire position. All right, we're gonna have local remote events equals to full dot fire. All right, and then we're going to have the cooldown. All right, so local debounce equals to false, and then local cooldown time equals to 1.5. All right, so db is basically a variable that tells the script whether the rocket launcher is on cooldown, and cd time will be the time of the cooldown. And then we're going to have local rocket velocity equals to other rocket speed equals to 100. All right, and then we're going to do local blast radius equals to 25. All right, so rocket speed is how fast the rocket is going to travel, and blast radius is the range of the explosion. All right, so you can alter these three variables to your liking. You can change the cooldown time, rocket speed, and blast radius to your liking of the rocket launcher. All right, so next we're going to detect, we're going to listen for the remote event. So remote event dot on server event connect function, and then we have player mouse position. All right, so player is the player that's holding the rocket launcher, and mouse position is the position of the player's mouse. And this parameter is something that, this argument is something that we passed over here. All right, and then now once we know that the client wants to fire a missile, we first need to check whether the client can fire the missile. So if not db, so if we're not in cooldown, then db equals to true so that they can't spam fire. And then local rocket equals to instance.new part. We're going to use a part as the rocket and workspace. All right, we're created inside of the workspace, and then rocket.size equals to vector3.new 0.5 0.52, and then rocket.can collide equals to false, so we don't want it to bounce off anything. All right, and then rocket.cframe equals to cframe dot new fire position world dot world position, and then mouse position. Alright, so what this does is that it sets the C frame of the rocket, which is position and orientation. Alright, so the position is the first parameter over here, which is fire position dot world position, which is basically where the attachment is in world space. Alright, and then the second parameter is where the part is going to look at. So the part is going to be at the position of the attachment, and it's going to look at the player's mouse position. So that's what we want. It is facing the target. Alright, and then what we can do is we're going to have a body velocity. So local body velocity equals to instance.new body velocity. All right, and then we're going to create it inside of the rocket. So we're going to set the body velocity dot velocity to wherever the rocket is facing, because we already said before that the rocket will be facing the position of the mouse, so we only have to set the velocity to be in the same direction of where the rocket is facing. So to do that, we can do rocket.cframe.look vector. All right, so that's the direction of where it's where the rocket is facing. All right, direction where the rocket is facing, and we're going to multiply that by rocket speed. Alright, so this is a vector, and this is the direction, and this is the magnitude. Alright, so next we're going to have a touched event, or not a hit event, a touched event for the rocket that detects whenever the rocket touches something, and if it touches something, we'll make it explode. So to start, I'm going to have a connection, a little connection. Alright, so connection equals to rocket dot touched colon connect function hit Alright, so when the rocket is hit, if the rocket hits something, we're going to if hit colon find first ancestor of class model is not equals to player dot character. Alright, so we do not want the rocket to explode on the player that's firing the rocket. So we're going to see if the rocket is not hitting the player's character, then we can create an explosion. So local explosion equals to instance dot new explosion, and then inside of workspace. Alright, so next explosion dot position equals to rocket dot position. So we're going to set the position of the explosion to be where the rocket hits something. Alright, and next we're going to have explosion dot blast radius equals to blast radius. We defined that before. And then we're going to have rocket colon destroy, and then connection colon disconnect. Alright, so you might be confused why we're defining a new connection and why we couldn't just delete all of this. And it's because we're saving the server's resources. Alright, so for example, if you have a rocket that touched something and exploded, alright, so the rocket doesn't exist anymore, but this touched event colon connect still exists, and the server is still trying to listen for the event where the rocket touches something. But then since the rocket doesn't exist anymore, exploded, it's never going to happen. The rocket is not going to touch something. So by listening for this touch event, the server is wasting resources. So we disconnect the connection to stop the server from listening to this event, so that we can save the game's resources and make it run smoother. Alright, so that's that. And next, after the event, we're going to have a delay function, and then we're going to have 25 and function. So if rocket, then rocket colon destroy, connection colon disconnect. Alright, so if the rocket doesn't hit something after 25 seconds, we can assume that the player shot it into the sky or something, and it's never going to hit anything anymore. So if it's never going to hit anything, then we might as well destroy it and disconnect the connection, so we save the game's resources. Alright, so the last two lines are wait the cooldown time and then set the cooldown CD time and set the debounce back to false. Alright, so that will be the entirety of our rocket launcher completed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this inside of my starter pack, and I'm going to play test the game. Alright, so during playtesting, I found a few spelling mistakes. Alright, so nothing too major. Alright, so what I did is I spelled fire position wrong. I'll just have to add an I. Alright, and that will fix that. And the second part is I accidentally typed a capital F over here. Alright, so that should fix it. And also, while we're on it, recently I've seen some comments on my videos saying that the scripts don't work and sometimes they error out. Now, what I would like to remind you guys of is Lua, which is the coding language for Roblox Studio, is extremely picky, and if you misspell something or accidentally typed a capital letter of a character, then your script could break. Alright, so the script is case sensitive, so make sure that everything in the script is spelled correctly and all the capital letters, they're all capitalized correctly. Alright, so if you accidentally did something wrong, the whole script could break. So with that out of the way, I'm going to play test it again. Alright guys, so I'm inside the game, and you can see I have this rocket launcher, and if I click somewhere, a part will shoot out. Just realized just now that if I go to the server, and you can see if I go to my player and my rocket launcher inside the handle. My fire position is actually at the very back of my rocket launcher, so the rocket comes out from the other side. Nothing too big to worry about if I just move it to the front. Alright, and go over here, you can see that the rockets come out at the right position. So if I just click it, you can see a rocket comes out and it explodes on impact, and I just blew myself up. Alright, so to fix the issue just now of the fire position being at the back of the rocket launcher, all you have to do is go to the handle and click the fire position and move it to the very front of the rocket launcher, and that will fix it. Alright, so yeah, that's all I have for you today. I hope you learned something from this video, and yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.